conspiracy around the frequency of music and the frequency of music that used to be played on the radio and whatnot. I'm pretty sure it was someone else will know more about this than I do, but all I know is this. Music used to be at the 432 hertz frequency, right? That used to be the norm, the standard frequency that music was played at from the radio, from this, from that. It was 432 hertz, right? Well, something very interesting. They then changed it to 440 hertz. And 440 hertz is shown to induce what you could call a neuro trance-like state. It changes your brainwave state, but not in a good way. And so what you may find interesting is that Chris Brown, who, by the way, just so you know, yes, he's likely a Freemason. Yes, we talked about that a decent amount, that, it's this secret religion that all these folks are involved in no matter what. I mean, literally, you got the Dalai Lama. He was promoting the you-know-what. He's always hanging out with these famous, rich celebrities for some reason. I don't know why. He just likes hanging out with known Freemasons all the time. But anyway, so my point is that very interestingly, Chris Brown comes out and his Instagram bio on Instagram was 432 hertz, broken heart, sad face emoji. That was Chris Brown's bio. Now keep in mind, Chris Brown with, 60,000 something, 60 million rather followers on Instagram. He actually used to follow this account, depending on which one you're looking at, connecting_consciousness. He used to follow. And I actually messaged him one day and said, "What's going on, big guy?" And he said, "Yo, man, let's hang out. I got this place. Let's go chill. And, we're going to have this meeting out by the fire. And we got these tiki torches around. And we're doing this kind of, it's kind of like a ritual. It's kind of like a, just a bit of a, it's a, what's the word? Tradition, No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, I didn't message him. To be honest, I like, it's funny when they follow and whatnot. Because, who's his name? What was his name? What's that guy? What's his name, man? Waka Flocka used to follow me too. He unfollowed though. I think I triggered him with some of the posts I made. But I don't know what happened. But anyway, my point is this, is that Chris Brown had in his bio that, 432 hertz, sad face, all right? And then I made a post. So I posted a post that was about how the media brainwashes, and there's like literally thousands of instances of mainstream news folks saying the exact same thing again and again and again. Different news stations, different reporters, but they're all saying the same sentence, the same, sentences and whatnot. So I posted it and said, mainstream media brainwashing. Well, Chris Brown took that post and reposted it. And unfortunately, he didn't tag me. He missed me with the tag, man, of course. But anyway, so I posted and said, "Yo, look what Chris Brown just posted." I made a post about him posting that. And then I said, Chris Brown seemingly may be aware of more than he is showing us or whatever. Then he took that post and reposted that and didn't tag me again. Whatever, I could have copyrighted him, but I didn't. And anyways, the point is this. He knows that music was influenced from 432 hertz, altered into 440 hertz. And keep in mind, XXX Temptation, whose mom follows me, she could even be watching this right now, he may or may not have been sacrificed, assassinated, murdered. I mean, he was speaking out about what they're doing with these frequencies, how they're controlling the minds of millions and millions of folks with these frequencies. For example, okay, you have The Weeknd, all right? Satanic The Weeknd. And in one of his shows, likely many, but in one of his shows, and by the way, Cody Montana said Chris Brown is a part of the Illuminati. Same with every rapper signed to Def Jam, like Rihanna, Jay-Z, Kanye, Justin Bieber, etc. Here's the thing. I don't really like to say that people like Jay-Z and Justin Bieber are in the Illuminati. I mean, that's kind of foolish because they're just a puppet of the true ones that are pulling the strings. They're in a club, for sure. They're in a club, but they're not in the Illuminati. They're in a club that is literally manipulated and influenced and controlled by the real Illuminati, which, by the way, Illuminati is what? Latin for illuminated. In other words, they have higher knowledge. And that's not the case. it is true in the sense of they understand that, like, we are asleep to many things, such as, the fact that they're hiding these symbols and signs in our faces and telling us what they're doing without actually verbalizing it. But my point is this: I don't say Jay-Z and Justin Bieber are in the Illuminati. They're just a puppet, complete puppet of the true ones that are pulling the strings. But anyways, so, and by the way, yes, Chris Brown definitely signed a couple deals to, get to where he is with his influence, with his fame, with his wealth, etc. But that doesn't mean that every person who's joined that club is fully down with being completely enslaved and eventually helping the world to be enslaved. For example, it was a month and a half ago now that Chris Brown posted a 1.5-minute video in his story of David Icke saying, guys, like, they could even freak you out with a virus and say that you all need to come and get this thing that we supply to you, and you will then be saved. And David Icke was like literally predicting what has happened since 2020, since March of 2020. And Chris Brown posted that in his story with his 60 million followers. And so I'm just going to kick this ding dong out because now he's making jokes. That best Rothschild guy, he's been in here for, every time, but now he's being an idiot. So anyways, yes, Chris Brown posted a video of David Icke talking about how, literally predicting what we've experienced since March of 2020. Can you believe that? And so this is why I don't think that every single person who has signed that type of deal to become that fully famous and to become that influential, etc. But I don't think that means they are inherently entirely evil and that they don't have, some of them speak out from their position with what they can do without getting fully assassinated. For example, you think about it for a second, and if you did agree to their deal, if you joined the club, okay, the club that everyone's talking about, that you've got to join the club, otherwise you got to say goodbye to your hopes and dreams. And so, interestingly, that club that they're talking about is the secret religion. It's the higher upper echelons of Freemasonry, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's other secret societies kind of around it, but just so you know, in order to get anywhere close to the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, you have to agree that if you ever spill any secrets of what is going on behind those closed doors, behind the initiations, what exactly you have to do to get from the 10th degree to the 11th degree as a Freemason. How do you get from the 15th to the 16th? What are these initiations? Well, you essentially are agreeing that they can murder you if you speak out about it. That's exactly what Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, Rihanna, Jay-Z, I could name 600 celebrities who all agreed to the same things. If they spill the beans, they're consenting to be murdered. Okay, that's what these major celebrities, everyone's watching and being so stoked about and, worshiping, okay? And same with the Kardashians, of course. They literally agreed that they will be murdered, and they allow themselves to become murdered if they speak out about what secrets happen in these Freemasonic rituals behind the scenes. And you may be wondering, why is that a thing? Why is that a thing? Why is that? I'll tell you why. When you get famous in Hollywood, you have such an influence over the population. And rich, best, handsome, I'll unhide you, but when you're making jokes, like what you were saying was inappropriate. But I know you seem to be a good fan. I mean, we see you in here often, but I don't want you to, get running too wild here, all right? So DM me, stay in on this live feed with this account, and then I'll DM me from your main account, and I'll unhide you from my stories. But don't be saying this whole, we are in the Illuminati. It's just not even funny when people joke about that, dude. But anyways, when you get that much influence and fame as a celebrity, as a person of influence, you can create the biggest way. You could make one post on Instagram. Think about this for a second. Imagine someone with 60 million followers, and not just followers, but like hardcore fans. Okay, think of someone like, either Jay-Z or either, the Kardashians. Imagine if this Kardashian chick came out, any of them, and posted on their Instagram, hey, just so you know, research Agenda 21, because our governments, no matter what country you're in, have agreed to this plan that is eventually makes it so that you own nothing and that you will be happy about it. And everyone stay researching, guys. And, like imagine if a Kardashian with 60 million, 70 million, the followers, etc., came out and said, yo, let's all actually look into this certain subject. Of course, it would send ripples throughout the entirety of human consciousness. That's how much influence they have, which is why they do absolutely nothing with it other than post a stupid, a picture of this, or they promote, getting the what. And a ton of celebrities were paid rather, to, promote themselves getting the what that everyone seems to be getting nowadays. Except for, someone like me who will never be getting it. But anyways, my point is this. And by the way, don't think that Chris Brown didn't likely get a stern talking to for sharing that 1.5-minute video of David Icke exposing that this was all pre-planned, okay? Because I'm sure he got in trouble for that, and we haven't heard from him for a little while. So bless him. Wouldn't want to be in his shoes, that's for sure. And so the reason why they want that you have to join the club, okay, in order to get an unlimited amount of fame and fortune as a celebrity, is because you have such control, you have such an amount of influence that they need to have some type of control over you. There's no way they're going to allow, because they own all the media, they own all the mainstream TV channels, they own Hollywood, all these things are owned at the tip top, right? There's no way they're going to let someone get a huge amount of influence and them not be under their tight control. Because if one person with 100 million followers on Twitter, on Instagram, etc., said, yo, here's a literal true fact, go look at it, then the system could literally crumble that quickly. That is how fragile this evil control system is. It is so fragile that if one person with a decent amount of influence comes out and spills the beans about this global plan to enslave every man, woman, and child on earth, they would crumble. And that's why they need videos of every single celebrity performing vile acts that you folks will never ever do. That's why they need contracts of all these celebrities who agree. And apparently, I saw one of the Freemasonic Bibles, and when you get higher and higher up in that organization, you agree that they can destroy your career and entire public image if you give any secrets out about what happens behind closed doors, behind what happens in the Freemasonic order and whatnot. So again, last time I talked about Freemasons, I triggered a shitload of people because there's so many guys and girls. I guess girls are in the, the East, it's called the Eastern Pact or sect or whatever. And usually Freemasons are not women, but then there's another, it's the Eastern Star or something like that, where women are Freemasons too. But my point is this, is that a lot of guys, I guess, because there's a significant number of actual Freemasons out there, that it's not too far-fetched to think with 900,000 followers that many of the people who follow Connecting Consciousness on here would be a Freemason. So people are commenting, dude, you got it all wrong, man. You're an idiot. Like, I am a Freemason. Like, you don't know shit. And I'm like, dude, hold on a second. Are you the second degree? And secondly, even if they were a Freemason, and let's say they were a 20th degree Freemason, each initiation, they agree to even stricter policies that they will never talk about what happens. And they sign that over in blood. And they agree that they will be murdered if they speak out about it. So how can you trust anyone who's was a Freemason, high-ranking Freemason, and how would you trust them to tell you exactly what even goes on behind closed doors like that? And that's why all these politicians, all these major celebrities, and these even athletes, like a lot of athletes, there's a better athlete who's not on TV because he didn't or she didn't agree to, concur or contract with that type of organization and whatnot. So Palm Noir said, are there any good Freemasons? Let me just explain something. And, I've said this a few times, but just so that we're on the same wavelength. You likely have neighbors nearby you that are a Freemason or that are involved in Freemasonry. That doesn't mean that they are inherently evil at all. At all. The public image of Freemasonry is donating to charity, doing food drives, helping the homeless. Like, Freemasons, are not inherently evil. No, I don't want you to think that. However, there's literally less than 0.5% of politicians who aren't Freemasons. You got to join the club. The major celebrities are 100% Freemasons. And what I'm saying is that the Freemasonic order is a method of control, where if they get everyone who's influential and powerful and wealthy, etc., under that control system, they gotta, they're keeping tabs on them, etc., then that's very good for this control system. So no, not all Freemasons are evil, of course. This guy just said, my grandpa was a Freemason. He was a good person. Exactly, 100%. And let me tell you something. If you are a good person and you become a Freemason, there is two paths when you become a Freemason. And you won't know which one you're on. If you're a good person and you won't do evil stuff, you climb the ladder on the left side of Freemasonry. You help out more with homeless people. You help out more with donating food, etc. And then the other path is, if you are more inclined to be easily manipulated, if you have less morals, etc., then you would end up going down this other path where, you will also be climbing a ladder, but you will be, put it this way, engaging in more sinister things. But just so you know, every initiation, when you get higher up and higher up in the initiations of Freemasonry, and of course Denzel Washington was a Freemason, you can see pictures of him doing the hand in the vest, which is signifying the hidden hand, and which is what the Freemasonic order, their whole thing is, the hidden hand. You won't know if you failed an initiation. So for example, I've heard from insider information that one of the initiations, they ask you to stand or spit on a Bible in order to get past a certain initiation. Like, that's the initiation. If you refuse to, they will be like, oh, good fucking job. Like, you passed. You're good. And you won't know. And then the other one is, if you do agree and stand or spit on the Bible, then you also, okay, you're one of us now, or you're higher up in the ladder. So you won't necessarily know, and this is from, I think, that 5-hour documentary that I shared in my Telegram. You won't generally know if you have failed, or, like, you can only pass the initiation, really. You won't know if you did something wrong that gets you put in a different category. That's the very interesting thing about some of the initiations in Freemasonry. But just so you know, at the tip top, Freemasonry definitely 100% is anti-human and fully satanic. 100%. They thrive off of anything that is anti-human, that is anti the natural world, the biological world that we live in. 100%. They do thrive off that. But again, your grandpa, the guy in here who said my grandpa was one, yeah, he probably wasn't involved in some of the literally satanic stuff that they do that you don't want to know about. The 5-hour documentary is in the 4th link in my bio, is my Telegram channel. Go to the Telegram, go to the top, join the Telegram, and then type in the chat search Freemasonry or Freemason, and then it will come up. You'll see. By the way, like someone just said, how to be a good Freemason? I wouldn't join that club, man. I would not join that club. I'm not interested in getting involved in that type of thing. It's cooler to be independent than to be involved in some strange thing that is literally has roots with, stuff that would make your stomach turn inside out. I mean, it's insane. So anyways, that's why it's a bit heavy. It's definitely a bit heavy of a subject, whatnot. But I will tell you that doesn't make it go away, okay, if you ignore these types of things that are going on. Because here's the thing. Many people like to be all love and light, okay? You know what I'm talking about? Love and light. Just focus on the positive. And yes, like positive thoughts get positive results. And where you focus, where focus goes, energy flows, okay? Yes. But if you're sitting there and intentionally like suppressing the desire within you to research and find out who is actually pulling the strings, who is manipulating and influencing this world, etc., you are not necessarily doing yourself or human consciousness, the collective consciousness of the earth, any favors, okay? Any favors at all. So for example, I know a lot of people are into, super, peace and love and everything, but it's like, what do they say? Good times create weak men create hard times create strong men. That's that saying. Someone will type it out. But my point is this. You can't just be like, people are like, oh man, I don't get into politics, man. Yeah. But it's like, dude, politics are what literally shape your daily life for the most part. Like policies come down the line, folks who you didn't even vote for, if you're involved in the United Nations or if you're involved in the World Economic Forum, those are policies that you didn't even vote for that can influence your life. Things that are happening in these unelected bureaucrats. But my point is this, is that it's very, very important to, yes, actually know what's going on, actually have these conversations, because otherwise, have you seen that video game, what's it called? It completely failed, but it was very famous. Cyberpunk 2077 or 2077, I think. Cyberpunk, okay? In that video game that was extremely famous for how big of a deal it was and also how horrible the launch of that game was. Okay, Cyberpunk 2077. And in this game, all the citizens, first thing, the cities that you're in that game is full, and I never played it, I saw this on YouTube, a guy analyzing it. Because just so you know, it's not just that Hollywood controls, the media and these movies and whatnot. They also control the other entertainment industry, which is, of course, video games. So, Cyberpunk 2077. In that game, it takes place in a time in the future. Everyone in that game, in this fictional world, is connected to a device in their wrist that connects to their inside of their body, and they're all connected to the grid. They're all connected to an artificial intelligence source. And it's a total dystopian game. When you look at it, there's this huge city and everyone's just in these little cell blocks. It's like a prison that doesn't have bars on it, but it's a prison. And it's very, very strange. So they're hiding in plain sight in this game the plan to eventually merge everyone with artificial intelligence, which we talk about at great length on here. But I just want you to understand that if you're sitting here being like, oh man, like love and light, okay, that's good. But there's also a darkness that is attempting to subvert and influence and control and enslave humanity. And just forgetting about it and focusing on love and light, I mean, put it this way. Someone said, oh man, like you're never positive or optimistic, which I know is false, but let's just address that for a second. Some people, when they start beginning to wrap their heads around the fact that this very, very strange situation is unfolding on Earth, where every country in the world is pushing closer and closer to artificial intelligence controlling everything and human freedom being decimated, right? Well, some people, to stomach that, they have to suppress it. They don't want to hear about it. They don't know the whole picture. They don't know that we're going to win this war. So they reject it and they don't want to know anything about it because it's too scary. It's literally scary of a thought. I mean, could you imagine being fully asleep and hearing that it's possible that everything you believed is actually false. Like, for example, people who went to school for however many years and learned all about how good fluoride is for you. And then finding out like 10 years, 15 years later, after spraying fluoride in many, many people's mouths as a dentist, finding out that, that actually is toxic and I poisoned so many people. Of course, it's very, very hard for some people to wrap their heads around that. And it in fact can trigger them, make them pissed off, make them, emotional about it, such that they want to suppress that part of them, which is understandable. But if you know, and someone asked me this the other day, how do you stay sane knowing all this? Well, I guess, first thing, I wouldn't say I know all this. I mean, I've researched a few things and I know a bit about a decent amount of things, but I also know that there's so much that I don't know a single damn thing about. And I get people messaging me all the time with new things that I had no idea about. So it's very good. We got a good community going here, especially on the Telegram channel, which is the uncensored, no algorithms. Fourth link in my bio. Join the private Telegram chat where we can post stuff that we can't talk about on Instagram at all. People ask me, yo, man, are you getting the you know what? And I'm like, dude, I'm not even having that conversation on Instagram. Get on my Telegram. So anyways, people say, dude, how do you stay sane when you're talking about all these things? And if all this stuff is true, like how don't you go insane? Well, first thing, I would say most people who have literal, actual insanity, they must have, been very traumatized growing up, which I was not. Therefore, it's very easy for me not to be insane. Second thing is what happens when, for example, these toxic chemicals that are added to the food and water supply today can make you, more and more likely to have cognitive imbalances, okay? And the ability to easily be overwhelmed, anxious, depressed even. And that happens by way of the chemical subversion of humanity, where they're putting these toxic chemicals and whatnot to specifically put you into a lowered state. So that is true. But my point is this, is that if you fully know the true power of humans, why we're being influenced and controlled, why they're trying to take away our freedoms and put us into a 5G AI controlled smart city, etc., you wouldn't think to yourself, damn, man, like, why, they're trying to control us, man. Like, it sucks. Like, this is crazy, man. It's depressing. Whoa. I don't feel that way, man. I don't feel that way. Despite all these people poisoning themselves as we speak, drinking fluoride, eating GMOs, etc., I don't get depressed about that. Yes, I have empathy for others, but I know that there is a higher, plan at play here, where some people signed up in this life to become a complete sheep and to get the you-know-what and to alter their DNA and to be in a lowered state. And then there's other people like me and you who came here to be the couple percent of humanity who understands that this gigantic control system is a real thing. 9/11 was an inside job. They use the Hegelian dialectic, which is where they create a problem, offer the solution, and the solution is the plan they had in the first place, but they couldn't have implemented those solutions unless they created a problem in the first place, which they have done for every single thing in the last literally 100 or more years. I mean, you think 9/11 was the first false flag. We had the false flag, there was a false flag for the Vietnam War. No American ship was actually struck by any missile from the Vietnamese military, and that was the cover story. They said we got to go to war with Vietnam. They attacked us. They didn't do that. That was a false flag. False flag refers to when a pirate ship would, go over across the sea, put up the flag of a different country to, deke the other person or the other, ship that they're about to go steal from, or this or that. So very, very interesting. False flag, that's where that term comes from the old days on the ocean, okay? Using a fake flag on your ship to, spook someone out and to have an element of surprise. Well, there's still false flags to this day. There are still false flags to this day. And I think we just had one a little bit ago that in all over the world, there's false flags all the time. I mean, what about I saw a story that, young organic couple who didn't believe in, who was health freaks, let their child die and wouldn't take him to the doctor, and he died because the parents tried to treat him naturally. This is a literal article that I read, and I thought, holy Kreikenheimer, man, if that doesn't make every sleeping sheep think that anyone into health is this health nut freak who lets their child die. I don't know what to say. It's obvious propaganda. For me, very, very obvious. But for some, they'd actually fall for that and think, damn, like caring about what you eat and avoiding GMOs like makes you a health freak. And very, very strange. So anyways, wait, a couple questions just strolled in here. Someone said, best way to decalcify the pineal gland. It's funny you asked because there's definitely an agenda. They said, hey, is the pineal gland and pituitary gland the same thing? The pineal and pituitary are two different glands, definitely two different glands, but they are symbiotically connected to one another. Now, the issue is, while fluoride absorbs into your pineal gland and disrupts and disturbs your pineal gland, chlorine and chloramine absorb into your pituitary gland. So there's a multifaceted attack with the chemicals that are in the water supply that end up in the food. If you're eating any food that's, cooked with this tap water, then you are essentially consuming two ingredients that alter the natural biological function of two of the most important glands in your entire body. And that is your pituitary gland and your pineal gland. And just remember, your pineal gland, it's the most important gland, right? It's the seat of your soul. It's where your energy body connects to your physical body. Very, very important. You know when they say your life flashes before your eyes when you die? You know what that is, eh? When you die, your body, your brain releases a significant dose of dimethyltryptamine, DMT, and you go on a hallucinogenic journey within the last, few seconds, like as you die, you get a dose of DMT, which is, I've never, people are always asking, dude, man, you do DMT, you do all these different psychedelics, man, like you're probably on shrooms right now, man, aren't you? No, I've never done DMT. I prefer to let my brain produce it itself naturally than to take a synthetic version of it, or even, but I know ayahuasca has its, fucking purposes and whatnot, but I'm not down with that at this moment. But anyways, my point is this. That is what your brain releases when your life flashes before your eyes. It's because your brain releases DMT and you go on a trip, you go on a journey. And so, very interestingly, isn't it funny that the medical system, the mainstream, the school system that apparently is so damn advanced, that we're just so, technologically smart now, and our ancestors were all dummies. Yet at this moment, we have a very interesting situation where most people have never even heard of their pineal gland and have never heard of what the true function of it is. And so my question is this. This guy said, you don't sound like you understand psychedelics. They are the key to the pineal gland. So you don't think that the key to the pineal gland would be making sure that it's decalcified, no pesticides are floating through your veins, and that it is functioning properly and optimally so that it can produce the proper amounts of, like, you're supposed to release trace amounts of DMT while you're sleeping. If your pineal gland is decalcified, you will produce, DMT while you're sleeping, which is what increases and makes your dreams more vivid. It makes you remember them, makes you recall them better. So for this, to think that you have to take a, dose of synthetic or legitimate DMT in order to experience what your pineal gland was designed to do, I would definitely say that is false. And I prefer to get my systems firing up on all cylinders rather than do that. But I know that, it's in many ancient cultures, or at least a number of them, in South America and whatnot, they love doing ayahuasca, which is, I know it is a form of, people like it. Some people don't like it. And it could be better to make sure that but I just can't imagine this. People go to South America, do ayahuasca and everything. And, but I'm just trying to think, and that it's like, if your pineal gland's calcified, how is it to just take a big dose of DMT, of ayahuasca? Like, I prefer to decalcify myself, get myself to peak function, versus kind of override that and just kind of, in my opinion, it's like a cheat code, it's like a cheat code. That's what I think. But anyways, also deep breaths release trace amounts of DMT as well, which is literally something that they, of course, we're so advanced now, but no one knows this, or at least the school system's not teaching it, that DMT is this important trace amount of psychedelic that your body is supposed to produce naturally. And if your body is in its peak condition and your pineal gland is not calcified and your pituitary gland is not calcified, then you will have more vivid dreams. You will have more synchronicities. You will easily be able to influence and manipulate and have control or dominion over your reality. But I can tell you this, it is spiritual warfare that they're adding chemicals like BPA and whatnot to the food and water supply, because the more that your pineal gland is in a altered state, the less capable you are of having any influence over the natural world, your, for example, reality. So if you ever saw, what's that documentary, The Secret, all right? And it always says, focus on the positive and you'll have more positive things happen to you. And that is, it's quite true, but it's quite base level. Like, yes, think more positively, more positive things will happen. But the science behind that is that every single different one of your thoughts has a different frequency to it. Remember this. Your thoughts have a frequency to it, and the frequency of that thought will materialize the physical equivalent of that thought into your reality. In other words, for example, if I am having negative thought after negative thought, the physical equivalent of a negative thought, which is just an imaginary thing, if a thought is it's still in the, it's not in the physical yet. A physical manifestation of a negative thought will manifest in your life in the form of you get a flat tire, something shitty happens, different negative experiences happen to you because of your negative thoughts. So vice versa, positive thoughts will attract the positive equivalent of that thought in your physical reality, which is why, yes, it's good to know that, for example, positive thoughts get positive results. But we have to know that if the healthier your body is, the stronger the connection with your soul, and the healthier your body is, the more easily able you are to manifest and create your own reality. Your own reality. So that means influencing what happens in your day-to-day life, whether it's a new opportunity, whether it's a new experience, whether it's a new relationship, whatever it is. You have dominion, you have control over your reality. The only reason that this evil Illuminati system of, satanic folks has been able to do anything evil in this world is not due to their power, but is due to us being disempowered. And that's why if we empower ourselves with superfoods, dense nutrition, micronutrients, the full matrix of minerals, grounding, deep breathing, and decalcifying the pineal gland, if the human population were in that type of state, then there would not be an issue of, they're putting up a 5G smart city. No, we'll stop that because we're all aware, because we have heightened consciousness and we are tapped into the collective consciousness of the earth. That's not what they want. They want you disconnected from the natural Schumann resonance, which is the frequency of the earth, that they don't want you being in connection with at all. That's why so much of what they do is completely anti-human, anti-natural world. They don't want you, energetically fully connected to exactly what you're supposed to be, which is this natural world. So people are saying, best way to decalcify the pineal gland. If you actually type in on, Google or any search engine, ways to decalcify the pineal gland, one of the top ways that pops up is a medicinal mushroom called chaga, which grows on birch trees. And this is truly a king medicinal mushroom, a queen medicinal mushroom, or any other genders. And it's a very, very potent and powerful medicinal mushroom due to these compounds that it has in it that they still don't know entirely how they function. Okay, this is essentially the, one of the substances in the natural world that I believe was divinely intended for this pinnacle moment in human history when we require these rare nutrients to rejuvenate and restore. Because I can tell you, fluoride doesn't have a thing on your body's ability to detox if you're getting the right nutrients, if you're getting the right micronutrients, the right minerals, etc. And Dars Raven said, is that in the 7 Wonders? He's asking about the main ingredient in the chalk 7 Wonders, which is the chaga extract. And that's one of them. Yes, 7 Wonders has the chaga extract in it, which is super beneficial for nerve growth factor and pineal decalcification. I used to drink chaga tea but it's quite a operation. I like to just take 2 capsules of this every morning, which is 7 wonders. They call it that because there's 7 different adaptogenic mushrooms in it. There's chaga extract. There's lion's mane, which is another very, very powerful medicinal mushroom that was clinically studied, by the way, to induce nerve growth factor. Nerve growth factor is the stimulation of neural stem cells, which means your brain makes new brain cells when you're taking something like the 7 wonders. And by the way, Chalk Initiated, this is the last call, and their deal is closing within the next few hours for the 53% off lifetime discount. Someone asked how much longer the 53% off. It can be within a couple hours. They're probably closing it tonight. And that code is 53life for a 53% off lifetime discount. And by the way, if you're taking the 7 wonders, you don't want to miss out on the purified shilajit, which is another substance clinically studied to induce nerve growth factor, builds brain cells, decalcify, has been believed for thousands of years to decalcify the pineal gland. And on top of that, has clinical studies specifically on its ability to boost memory function, concentration, mental clarity. I mean, this is a true superfood. Plus, it has 40 bioavailable trace minerals. This dude said, I prefer mushrooms in their natural state. So an extract of a mushroom is in a natural state. And when you have 7 of them, here's the thing. You can take this medicinal mushroom or that medicinal mushroom, and I'm kicking out this wolf blood glue bag now. At this point, you can take, one medicinal mushroom or this medicinal mushroom, but imagine getting 7 of them into you every single day before 8 a.m. before 9 a.m. At any moment, you take the Chalk 7 wonders, and within 15 minutes, you're getting a dose of 7 different adaptogenic medicinal mushrooms that have been used for thousands of years. That's why I love taking the 7 wonders. It is a true superfood. And if you synergize that with something like the shilajit, which is proven to be the type of substance that can increase nutrient delivery, then you can imagine that it boosts the effects. They have a symbiotic effect on one another. Now, this guy said, let's see. Do you drink? No, I don't drink red wine. Good question, though. And so the thing is, though, is that as we were talking about a few days ago, this evil control system is trying to fully influence our ability to consume certain products. And you know that the FDA launched their new initiative. Okay, I forget what it's called exactly, but it's to do with banning supplements in hopes that the public actually thinks that it's for their safety. Okay, and that's exactly what happened with the Apex Glutathione, that you can no longer purchase from chalk.com, CHOQ.com. You can no longer purchase because they have NAC in here, and the NAC in the Apex Glutathione, which is a natural amino acid, is now no longer able to be sold because they banned it. They banned this natural ingredient while fluoride is still allowed, which is very, very strange. And I just want you to know that this is a push, like shilajit's on the list. The organic wild-crafted Irish moss is on the list, and this is the only wild-crafted certified organic Irish moss, by the way. Full matrix of minerals. You definitely want to get the Irish moss into you because minerals ignite every biological process. And remember, your DNA is light codes, and minerals are frequencies of light. So if you're taking Irish moss and shilajit, you're restoring and rebuilding your DNA, which could have been damaged by the years and years of toxic pesticides you've consumed, from neurotoxic ingredients that is in the tap water like BPA, etc. Kenny said, which one was banned? The NAC, which is a natural amino acid, was banned. That it was an ingredient in the Apex. So Chalk has taken Apex off the website and they're reformulating it as we speak. The new list of things that the FDA is trying to ban is 2 different ingredients that is in the Chalk armor. One of them is astragalus. And remember, astragalus was clinically studied to have anti-aging effects on the human body. It lengthens telomeres. The astragalus lengthens telomeres. Remember that telomeres is the DNA cap, the genetic segment in your body, which essentially dictates how fast or how slow you age. And this root extract, which is one of the ingredients in the Chalk armor, has been proven to lengthen telomeres, having an anti-aging effect on the human body. And why is it that the FDA would try to ban it, you may be wondering? Is it for your safety? you ask yourself the question. Someone said, yes, exactly. It's hard to find. It's definitely hard to find chaga, but it's one of the main ingredients in Seven Wonders, and you can find Seven Wonders, the Chalk Seven Wonders medicinal mushroom blend at chalk.com. JB1778 said, what is it called? I forget exactly which one you're asking about. Rephrase the question. I'm taking one of the doses of the chalk armor, and yes, chalk ships worldwide, everyone. And by the way, some of the ingredients in chalk supplements, yes, like the Shilajit and the Seven Wonders helps to decalcify the pineal gland, but also these help to rejuvenate and restore from the glyphosate, the toxins, the pesticides, the GMOs that have a effect of on your DNA, which alters your DNA, which you don't want. So that's why I take chalk supplements every single day. You need these rare superfoods, these micronutrients, and these incredibly, rare plant compounds that you can't get at a health food store, even a grocery store. They're very, very rare. For example, the Tonkat 100. This is the only wildcrafted, certified wildcrafted and 15 different clinical studies of any other source of Tonkat on the internet. You can buy Tonkat, in a Ziploc bag from China. You're getting the Shanghai Surprise. Very, very cheap. Very, very cheap. But this is the only Tonkat 100 that is clinically studied, and it's a 100-to-1 extract, which has a patented process which ensures that the bioactive plant compounds remain intact. Nomad Mama said, is it certified organic? The Tonkat 100 is certified wild, which is even better than organic. Wildcrafted, if it is literally certified, it is better than organic. But this is wildcrafted. The Irish Moss is certified wild and certified organic. The purified Shilajit does not grow, so you can't get an organic certification on it, but you can get the lab test showing it's from the Himalayas, that it's hot water purified with a patented process, etc. And by the way, Shilajit is the one that boosts testosterone for men and balances hormones for women. Most women are suffering from hormone imbalances due to the pharmaceuticals in the water supply, or the fact they're taking birth control, or the fact they're consuming BPA, or they're cooking toxic soybean or canola oil in a toxic Teflon pan with a toxic spatula that's made of plastic. I mean, people are doing that every single day. Why do you think their endocrine system is out of whack? Their brain function's not working properly. They need hormone optimizers, not hormones. You don't want to take a hormone. You want to take ingredients that naturally optimize your endocrine system, your hormones. So that's chalk.com. And by the way, the most popular for women is the Shilajit and Seven Wonders. And the most popular for men is the Daily Tonkat or the Daily Action Combo. And by the way, someone said they are expensive. So here's the thing. Like I said, you can buy super, super cheap, Tonkat and Shilajit on the internet that is literally, a dime a dozen. You're getting the Shanghai Surprise. But if you want to actually feel the difference with an ingredient, you want to make sure that it's wild. You want to make sure that it is clinically studied. You want to make sure that it is, lab verified, etc. And not the Shanghai Surprise, waste of money, etc. That's the difference you're paying when you're getting, for example, the wildcrafted certified organic Irish Moss, which you cannot get elsewhere. And by the way, this is the last call for the 53% off lifetime discount of any chalk subscription or bundle. That's the code 53life is what you got to use. You can cancel the subscription at any time, but remember that the benefits are based on 90 days. So you want to make sure you get that consistent dose. People are asking about synthetic fragrances. We'll talk about that. The other deal for those who are overseas, you don't want to use the 53life code because you don't want to, pay for shipping each month. The best thing you could do if you're overseas is use the code 44off. And this one is coming to a close as well. There's probably 6 to 7 hours left of this deal. 44 off for 44% off all orders store-wide. Villa Parker, check out chalk.com. All the lab verifications, certifications, clinical studies, and more are available at chalk.com. You'll be able to check it out because you said what lab verified it. There's literally dozens of labs involved with the, probably 50 plus different ingredients or maybe 40 plus different ingredients that chalk has in their various blends and formulas, etc. So yes, exactly. So where do you source your ingredients, my friend? Johnny, if I were to sit here and tell you each different country of origin of each of the different 40 plus ingredients in all of chalk supplements, that's a question you can answer for yourself by going to chalk.com, looking at all the ingredients. That's like asking, how much milligrams is each and every single different ingredient? I mean, let's check out chalk.com, do a little bit of research for you. I don't want to completely spoon feed you. You know what I'm talking about. But that's a good question. But yeah, you can find that, for example, the main ingredient in the Action 2.0 is certified wild crafted from the Siberian Altai mountain range. That is quite something. That is quite something. So I'm taking a dose of the armor here. And before I do, this guy asked a good question. He said, what do you recommend to take for a first-time user? For guys, the Daily Action Combo. For ladies, the Shilajit and 7 Wonders. And this type of deal, when they give off a 53% off lifetime discount, it is really something else. And they go extremely fast. So I hope that anyone looking to get more than half off every single month, cancel anytime, I hope you get in before it's fully capped. And for those who are overseas, getting 44% off all orders store-wide, that is quite something. You want to make sure you get a multi-month supply to be able to experience the full 90-day clinicals, well, the benefits that are based on 90 days. So, good question. Exactly. So Jordan said, Shilajit, Tonkat, and Daily for men. Yes, that is one of the most popular combinations. Remember that the Daily contains the main ingredient is purified Shilajit, which is for men or women. However, it has 4 other adaptogenic compounds that have been used for thousands of years by the ancient Ayurvedic scientists of India. And this one is specifically for men. The rest can be taken by men or women. Exactly. So by the way, the 53% off life code works on any subscription, but you have to make sure you're applying it to a subscription. You can't use the 53 life code for a, just because you can get any chalk supplement. You can purchase it outright or you can subscribe to it. So there's 2 different options. The 53 life applies to subscriptions. The 44 off applies to any other, one-time purchases, right? And the capsules are the highest quality non-GMO veggie caps too. You got to look out for some of these companies are using the, bottom of the barrel ingredients for the capsules. Chalk uses non-GMO veggie caps, the highest quality that there actually is available. Rob said, so the Daily and Shilajit for men is good. Yes, the Shilajit, just so you all know, has the entire 8 different clinical studies. Okay, 8 different clinical studies. One of them shows that it boosts testosterone for men. One of them shows it balances hormones for women. One of them shows it increases cognitive function and cognitive development, meaning memory, brain function, energy levels, like I said, hormone optimization, etc. So Shilajit is definitely one of the ones you need. And the Daily, a lot of guys like to take the Daily and the Shilajit because then you're getting a double dose of the extremely rare, clinically studied, hot water purified Shilajit extract. And by the way, before we go any further, I want everyone to know that coming up in just a few days, people are going to be missing their chance. And I just, it is what it is, but there's nothing we can do about it. Chalk got an entire crop from a Bolivian farm of certified heirloom genetics cacao beans from multi-100-year-old cacao trees that are ancient and heirloom, okay, ancient DNA. And so, yes, that is correct, Jordan Ben David. Each bottle is a 30-day supply. And so they got an entire crop from this Bolivian farm that grows its cacao beans in mineral-rich soils. However, the next batch that's coming off of this farm, of course, is 2022. So Chalk got this entire supply. However, at this rate that people have been getting the organic cacao, the heirloom cacao, they're going to have to limit the amount that people can buy, unfortunately, because people have been buying 3, 4, 5 at a time because they know that it's not going to last. So Chalk is not offering subscriptions, and coming next week, they're not going to let people get more than, I think, like 2 bags each because they want as many people as possible to try it. Because this is something, there's nothing else like this out there. Certified heirloom, cacao beans. You ever seen a cacao bean before? Probably not. Most people haven't. I know I didn't. Cacao bean, man. And when you, on top of that, you take the cacao, it has a neuroprotective effect on the brain with this trace amounts of natural caffeine that, is present naturally in cacao. Highly, highly beneficial. And a lot of people are using the code 44 off for that because that's currently the discount that is able to be used for that. Now, someone said, a very good question. Let me read it here. I'm in Canada. I would like to get a subscription. Or would it be better to just buy every once in a while? The best thing for you to do if you're not in the if you're in the United States, the best thing is the 53% off lifetime discount. Any other country in the world, the best thing you could do is get a multi-month supply with a big discount. So for example, imagine a multi-month supply. So you get the 90-day benefits. Remember, the clinically studied benefits are based on 90 days. And if you use the code 44 off, then you can get, that will cover shipping. That'll cover any potential duties, and that'll cover, and the taxes, whatever. I mean, it's a big discount. So a lot of people are going that route when they want to get a multi-month supply. That's a very good question. The code is 44 off, 44OFF. And then you apply that to your cart for the cacao or for any of the supplements. But again, if you're in the United States, you got to use the code 53life, man. And if for anyone who's still on the fence or wondering, this is the last call and the deal will be closing soon for these two deals, 53% off lifetime or 44% off all orders store-wide. And another thing is that, this lady asked, do you grind the beans and make coffee? Sorry if that's a silly question. It's not a silly question. You definitely can grind the beans and make like a cacao drink. Or a lot of people like to take them. I personally like to take them with bananas. So I'll have a banana and I'll have the cacao beans and I'll eat them together. Delicious. Or you can literally just eat them by themselves. Like you have like a bowl of peanuts. Oh, well, you have a bowl of cacao beans. And if you want, you take the shell off. A lot of people like it with the shell. I sometimes like taking it's not a shell, it's a skin. Taking the skin off, and then you just consume the nibs by themselves, and it's very, very delicious as well. So, we are going to be posting this. Yeah, they are raw, by the way. All the cacao beans, they are raw. They're not roasted or anything. So, super beneficial. They got the rare compounds and the fatty acids and everything. So, the other thing is that, remember for guys, the best combination is the Daily and Tonkat, or the Daily and Action 2.0. And for ladies, it's the Shilajit and 7 Wonders. Make sure you get in before the deal is fully capped. I'm stoked to hear your experience taking it, joining the Chalk Tribe, taking the 90-day Chalk Challenge. And they last about 5 years in a cool, dark place. Michael Field, 1976. Good question. And you can put of course, cacao beans in a smoothie, definitely. So with that being said, make sure you get in the 4th link in my bio, which is my private, uncensored Telegram group chat. You want to get in there. We're going to be live soon. Shanty Rose Knits, make sure you keep me posted. DM me as soon as you get it, and I'll be able to share that to my story, saying how great it is that you're about to join a movement, a healthy movement, a new lifestyle change with these rare plant compounds and micronutrients. With that being said, everyone, much love. We'll be talking extremely soon, and I'll keep you posted. Tune into my stories and get me in my private Telegram group, all right? Much love, everyone. Much love, and I'm going to get to kick this dude out because he's a complete...